Virginia Mabiza oshandisa simba rakanyanya pamusoro pechitiko cheConstitutional Amendment Act No. 3 yakasainwa naMnangagwa kuva mutemo utsva wenyika yeZimbabwe, apo Virginia Mabiza turns up a hit on Mnangagwa's CAA3, urging a Constitutional Court to strike off war veteran case. Uko kumadzitare edzimhosva ichinzi ava strike off without hearing its merit. Kusangana kwatinoita zvakare pana paYouTube channel yenyu yeMagaba News, patinobata nhau dzakasiyana-siyana dzinoitika munharaunda nemunyika yedu yeZimbabwe, tichiti kana pane vachangosvika zuva ranhasi ndiwo mukana wekubaya button rakanzi subscribe nekutena notification bell kuitira patinoisa news idzi munova muri vekutanga kusangana nenews dzatinenge taisa. Attorney General Virginia Mabiza anova ari muhurumende yavaMnangagwa, ari mucabinet yavaMnangagwa, osumuka nemashoko anova ari mashoko aita kuti veruzhinji munyika yeZimbabwe vava nekusawirirana kwemashoko aVirginia Mabiza uyu mushure mekunge auya achitaura achiti pamapepa ari kuendeswa kumadzitare edzimhosva nemawo veteran vachipikisa CAA3 iyi yakava yakasainwa navaMnangagwa musi wa7 July 2026, achiti iye vanhu vekukoti ndavasateerere zvinhu izvozvo, ndavadzorere mapepa ayo kumawo veteran, hapana zvazvinoshanda. Zvaita kuti veruzhinji vatauriwo zvakasiyana-siyana pamusoro pechitiko ichi, vamwe vachiti I think it was all done in favor of this, then that's the reason they choose to remain silent about CAA3. Vamwe vakatiwo the attorney must be removed. This matter will least implication government via the president signing the law, require her not to take a position even if cited in papers. The amendment originated from the legislature. They should be defending it and not government. Virginia is a lawyer, yes, but there is no rule of law. She, like all of them, are captured, and you know all the benefits she get as a side dish as well. Do mashoko veruzhinji vanhu vari kuramba vachiti aiwa iloya zvake, asi zvaakutaura izvi hazvichashande, zvekuti anoti mapepa emawo veteran ekupikisa CAA3 ndaasateererwe nyangwe akasvika kumadzitare edzimhosva, ndaangobudiswe without hearing its merit. Muri weZimbabwe nhau iyi yaita kuti igosimudza mutauro munyika yedu yeZimbabwe, inova yanyorwa zvakare nejournalist Hope Chung'ona achizvitaurawo maererano nechiitiko ichi. So according to New Zimbabwe Constitutional Amendment Act No. 3, commonly referred to as CAA3, continues to generate debate with a new development involving the country's Attorney General Virginia Mabiza. According to commentary published by journalist Hope Chung'ona, Mabiza is aid that the Constitutional Court should strike off a legal challenge brought by war veteran against CAA3 without considering the merit of the case. This has immediately raised the question about how the court should handle the challenges and whether the application will get an opportunity to have their argument heard. Let's break down what is at the center of this latest development. The legal challenges concern Constitutional Amendment Act No. 3, legislation that introduced several changes to the Zimbabwean constitutional and electoral frameworks. One of the most major issue around the amendment has been the timing of presidential election and the length of the presidential term. The commentary shared by Hope Chung'ona is that the legislation effectively moves the next presidential election timetable from 2028 to 2030. However, this is also a political contest issue, and supporters and critics of the amendment have presented different interpretation of its constitutional implication. Another significant changes highlighted in the commentary is the extension of presidential term from 5 years to 7 years. The amendment also changed aspects of Zimbabwe electoral and parliamentary arrangement, including provisions allowing the president to appoint a certain number of members of parliament directly. There is also a change concerning the election of president and the amendment removing the provisions, a previous provision for citizens to directly elect the president in same manner. These changes has attracted criticism from sectors of Zimbabwe society and opposition voices, while the government and the ruling party have defended the constitutional amendment. Now, the latest controversy is not simply about what Constitutional Amendment Act number 3 says. It's about whether the Constitutional Court should hear the war veteran challenge on its merit. According to the reports shared in the screenshot, Attorney General Virginia Mabiza is asking the Apex Court to strike the case off without considering the substantive argument raised by the application. It simply terms the argument is that the court should first deal with whether the case is properly before it rather than proceeding to examine the constitutional argument themselves. When a court considers a case on its merit, it examines the actual legal argument and evidence presented by the parties. But when a case is struck off on a preliminary or a procedural base, the court may not reach the underlying constitutional questions. That is why this development is attracting attention. The war veterans challenge the amendment, want the courts to consider the case. The Attorney General has the state, representing the state, is taking a different position on how the matter should proceed. Ultimately, it will be for the Constitutional Court to determine whether the challenge should proceed, and if so, how the constitutional question should be addressed. It is important to stress that the Attorney General position is an argument before the court. It should not be presented as through the Constitutional Court has already accepted it. The court eventually decision will be determine what happened next. So muri Zimbabwe tikatarisana wiri kutaurwa na Attorney Virginia Mabiza ndeyekuda kungoti tsamba yese iri kuendeswa koti panguva ino ichipikisa pamusoro peCAA3 iyi yakunzi inofanirwa kungorambwa ichangosvika nyangwe asati atovhurwa mapepa acho, nongonzi madzorerei kwaabva. Ndo zvaakuda kuitwa, kurakidza kuti vaakuda kuisa simba ravo rese, kurakidza kuti vaakuda kurakidza kuti koti iri captured zveshokwadi zvisina kuwandisirana. Ende mukaona ConCourt yabvuma izvi, nyika yeZimbabwe veruzhinji vanenge vasisina kwekuenda kuno fighter ZANU-PF, kwekuenda kunorwisa ZANU-PF, sezvo koti kunenge kusisiriko. Mumastreet vakarambidzwa chinzi hamubvumirwe kuita a peaceful protest munyika yeZimbabwe. So panenge pasina, kunenge kwakungotarisira kuti CAA3 yavo kusvika pavachachinja nyangwe kusvika kuCAA10, pavanenge vagumirawo ipapo ndo panenge pakuzobvumirwawo kuti vemaopposition vachiuya. So for now, the major development is Attorney General Virginia Mabiza is reportedly urging Zimbabwe's Constitutional Court to strike off the war veterans' challenge against Constitutional Amendment Act number 3 without considering its merit. The war veteran side will have its opportunity to present position through the legal process, where the state have present its own argument. The final decision rests with Constitutional Court. And as this legal battle continues, Zimbabwe will watch closely to see whether the country's highest court would dismiss the challenge on procedural ground or proceeding to examine the substantive constitutional questions around Constitutional Amendment Act number 3. So muri Zimbabwe ndona wiri kunetsa, munoti chii maererano nenawi iri kutaurwa kubva kuna Virginia Mabiza, anova Attorney General ari mukabineti yava Mnangagwa yehurumende yenyika yeZimbabwe. Ndidzo nhau dzatanga takabata pano pa YouTube channel yenyu yaMagaba News.